Perfect. Good evening, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome everyone to the May 16th, 2023 regular town council meeting. Meeting was called for 6 p.m., 6:05 p.m. Meeting officially called to order. Town clerk, can you do roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Singer,
Here.
Vice Mayor Bernstein, Councilmember Einstein,
Here.
Councilmember Luskin,
Here.
Councilmember Mendel.
Oh.
Councilman Mandel is on Zoom. Jaime, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect, thank you. If everyone could please rise. Chief Rudy Habello, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Let's face the flag and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Once again, I want to welcome everybody. We love when there's a great attendance in person. We have some presentations this evening. The first presentation is the 94th anniversary of Golden Beach. And believe it or not, 94 years ago, two brothers, R.W. and Henry Ralston, bought this land where Golden Beach sits and developed a community where they wanted no business, no noise, no nightclubs, no hotels, no tourists, and a peaceful community. They didn't say anything about a casino, but just for a fact. But they spent millions of dollars transforming mangroves, filling in and creating 3 islands, North Island, Center Island, and South Islands. During the initial development of Golden Beach, all these streets were named after Italian cities and Italian streets. The town of Golden Beach was incorporated under the present statute by a special act of legislature on the state of Florida in 1929. The act was approved and Golden Beach became legalized community on May 23rd, 1929, which puts us 94 years ago today. When originally developed, plots or land on the ocean was sold for $7,500 a lot, and homes on the intercoastal and the canals were sold for $2,000 a lot. Seems like a bargain today. Once noted, Ripley's, believe it or not, the town of Golden Beach was renowned for the jail, which was on Center Island, where convicts can literally fish out of the window while they were in jail. 94 years later, here we sit with the town. The Ralston brothers would be so proud on what we developed and over the length of time. I mean, Golden Beach is one of the most prestige communities in the country. I mean, Golden Beach is known obviously nationally, but also internationally. And hats off to this administration, my fellow council members, all who have been sitting on the council for a minimum 15, 16 years, that really taken Golden Beach to a new level. And I know the Ralston brothers would be so proud of all of us. So tonight, in celebration of Golden Beach's 94th birthday, we are going to have a cutting of the cake. So if we can sing happy birthday to Golden Beach.
Mayor, if you could just, and actually, can I have the staff come up to the dais behind? I want to take a picture for, let's have all the staff behind the dais.
Where do you want to put it?
And let's take a picture for the newsletter. So if you're going to be stopping, we're going to the back. Now.
Just on over.
How you doing? Good.
Staff, you got a picture for that?
Okay, I want to make sure it was put it right under.
And woke up to a house full of
And I don't know if they'll be able to hold it up. It would be nice.
It's very delicate. I'm not entirely sure how to do that.
No,
like Sarah, I hadn't been here in so long, I showed up.
And then, so let's get all the staff back here.
Maybe we can hold it up. Careful, careful. It's very delicate.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Come on, I'll take a picture.
I will post it on.
I'm short, so I gotta be right here.
Should the flowers close by?
Okay, wait, I got it. Here. We'll stand here. Caitlin and I will stand in the front and smile. And smile in the front. Go, you hold that one and I hold this one. I will smile.
Careful, the mayor's dying night.
Agree with me tonight? Take them out.
let's get staff in here.
You're gonna have to get
All right,
back.
guys. So on my count,
Rachel, you're gonna have to get back.
guys, hey, pay attention.
Right.
We're gonna sing the Golden Beach Happy Birthday. Happy
Birthday to you. Take pictures. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Golden Beach. Happy birthday to you. Mayor, do me a favor. Can you drop the knife so we can get a picture without a knife in your hand?
sorry.
Let's do that. All right. Guys, say cheese.
I don't wanna get too close to him.
All right. One more. One more. Now, everyone, wait. Representative, can you join us so you can use this for your newsletter? Come on in.
Will we have a newsletter?
Well, you know. If not, you guys should start one for his constituents.
One, two.
Everyone smile, pretend you love each other.
I don't see back there.
Hold on, 1, 3, hold on. Come on.
We could paste them in.
There you go.
All right. Then staff,
Thank you, guys. Thank
staff, let's go back. And then, hold on, if we have any residents in the audience, let's have the residents come up with the council. Oh, we're good. Who is that?
This is like a work of art.
You want residents up? Okay, yeah, okay. Residents come up.
I want a big piece.
Residents.
Stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. Worry more.
Early resident, 94 years later.
This is not really a picture to post on there.
Guys.
No, come on.
Please, come on. Let's go, residents.
Come on.
No. My computer's up there. Come on, son. It's the newsletter for your cause. All right. Don't have a picture. 94 years.
That's right. Next one's our 95th,
All right, ready?
for anyone that,
All right, now, staff. And
I think my granddaughter wants to be in a picture.
My other half is not here today.
thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Mayor, before you go on, just real quick on the 94. So as you know, all of the years between the major milestones, we tend to have a smaller ceremony. Next year, for the 95th anniversary, we intend to have a street fair like we did for the 90th.
That's fun.
So it'll be a bigger event. It will be in our new Civic Center complex. With carnival rides and special performances. So next year for the 95th, please plan your calendars accordingly. And also, the mayor always fails to mention that over the last 17 years under this council and this administration, we've been able to build our community from a community worth $500 million in 2007 to a community worth $1.5 billion this year. We have been able to deliver over $63 million of projects to our community by only leveraging $14 million deal bond that was approved by our residents in 2007. And all of that has been able to be done while lowering our millage rate 3 times through the last 17 years, thanks to the leadership and the guidance from this council. Let's give this council a round of applause. The Ralston brothers will be very proud of you. Thank you for sharing the date with today.
They were gonna attend today, but they had a prior engagement. So also this evening, we're very fortunate to have Representative Fabian Basabi here. Representative Basabi serves the Florida House Representative for District 106, serving a number of South Florida communities, including Golden Beach. Representative Basabi has secured $1.2 million for our Parks and Wellness Center projects. He's been a big supporter of Golden Beach.
Wow.
And we're honored this evening to have him and his Chief of Staff, Adrian Gonzalez. We appreciate you both attending. I know you want to say a bunch of, would like to say something. So, welcome, and if you could stand up, be great. Thanks.
Can't get my back to the cup, so you gotta go over there. Good evening, everyone. It's nice to be here. Congratulations on the city well served. But we still have a lot of work to do. I mean, this is my first time in politics, so I did what you asked. I got you guys everything that you asked for, and now what I'm going to ask of your community is to stand with me, to stand behind our cops. We've got a huge crime problem in this district, and a big part of it is we have these brave men and women who step up every day, risking their lives to fight. We've got a failing prosecution program with a state prosecutor who does not prosecute, and we have people that don't understand that we have to be grateful for the members of law enforcement who risk their lives every day and consider their families who wait for them every day at home, hoping that they come home in one piece. So please help me in the support of our law enforcement. It's a top priority for me. As far as more of the environmental issues, on top of this funding, I've secured $200 million for wastewater grant management that's going to help us with a lot of our infrastructure issues, fixing those broken pipes that are going to start addressing the flooding, the backed up waters, all the broken pipes that are breaking into our bays. The environment is very important to me. Our Biscayne Bay is our brand, and our waterways must be protected. So as soon as that funding is approved by the governor, it's already in the budget, it's all been approved by there, but then there's one more stop where the governor signs off on it, brings us, our checks. I'm going to work with you guys to teach you how to tap into those grants, because it is a statewide program, but we're going to be first in line to tap into a lot of that for this district, because we unfortunately just haven't been a proper part of that conversation in Tallahassee for decades, and we're due. Our pipes are 60, 70, some of them as old as this city, and without repair, I can't even explain the videos that I've had to witness to seeing what's going on in our waterways. I would like to, while I was mentioning law enforcement, our Sergeant Bautista, who was injured in the line of duty serving. Please let's keep his family in our thoughts. I do every day. I'm so proud of the city manager who, I think he wasn't even in town, got on the first flight out and came back here to, stand by that family. That was really impressive. And I encourage a lot of cities to follow in your leadership for that action, please. Let me see a couple of other things I know you guys wanted to touch on. You already mentioned the wellness center and the playground, which is wonderful. Other than that, I know there's a lot of concern about the public safety bill, which has kind of been marketed as a permitless carry. It's 106 pages long with 27 pages of staff analysis. It doesn't just remove the test. It brings back a lot of funding for preventative measures, gun education, accountability of guns, and I'm going to work with your police force and help you tap into those funds. On top of that, I've got another $5 million in crime prevention and intervention that's going to address homeless throughout the district, and more money for resources for cops, specifically for our district. So just lots of funding coming back. I think that's kind of what my job, my role is, to bring back money and to participate in legislation. I will let you know there are a lot of social issues that have been touched legislatively that unfortunately we don't necessarily have the greatest relationship with media. I do my best to get my side of the story and everything, but please, if there's anything that really concerns you, read the bills, because they're not what they're being marketed as. The immigration bill, for instance, there's a lot of people that have businesses with a diverse population of employees that are nervous about that bill. This is for new employees, and it's meant to kind of stop people from doing things the wrong way. But nobody should be jumping into the waterways right now. Let's read the bills, understand what it is, and get a message out to those families that this is not something to be concerned about, but it's something that we should plan better for in the future. I'm the son of an immigrated father myself who has built a great life in this country, and we definitely support our immigrant population and want to do well by them. People who want to come, live, work, and play responsibly on our grounds, they are first in line in my book. So. If you have any questions on anything else that I can touch upon, please let me know. I don't know kind of what might be of interest. Children, do you have any questions, sir?
You started by saying that to help you get a prosecution.
It's funny, people think that those letters go unheard, but writing letters, as tedious as it might be, they do pile up and they do draw attention. So please make that presence known. Phone calls into the office, writing to their staffers. That's a big start. It's a big start. I know they had a request for some funding, and I didn't submit it this year because I need to see some more results. I don't see, when I see the morale of my cops down and I see crime rampant on the street. I mean, I live in Miami Beach, and our murder rate's up 400%, and we are a first world economy with budgets galore, and we just can't seem to put a handle on this. And it's really about showing up and saying the things that need to get said. We are a law and order state, and we expect people to behave if they're coming to play in our backyards. Plain and simple. We love everybody. Everybody is welcome, but don't disrespect our backyards. But yeah, please just make your voices heard, especially in legislation. There's a lot of people that like to kind of not support police in certain proposals and legislation, they're not getting through while I'm up in session, but, you know, let those members in the House and Senate know how supportive you are of your law enforcement members. And if you ever see them in the coffee shops, do what I do. Shake their hands, thank them for their service. It goes a long way. These heroes show up every day for us.
How do you suggest that we put more pressure, though, on our state attorney's office and our city and our county officials to start enforcing laws that are on there and to start crafting laws that better protect our police and arresting people when they're perpetuating the same crime over and over?
Do you know a good state attorney that wants to run for office?
So I've had a conversation with her just like a few days ago, and I'm setting a meeting with her to discuss situations that happened in Golden Beach and how they were handled by the state attorney's office. So believe me, she saw the piece on Channel 10, and I guess it got her attention. She called me the following day. So believe me, we want to do everything we can.
It is
Agreed.
surprising to know that that is the third state attorney we've had in the history of Florida.
Right.
Third. And
Third?
for me, that's not okay. That's number 3. And there's been a few cases that I've been looking into, and I respect anyone who wants to serve in public service. This is not an easy task. But I had a kid who was killed just in the next town over, and that driver wasn't prosecuted. And there's a lot of finger pointing. They want to blame it on Tallahassee. The laws aren't strict enough. The laws exist. The quality of life laws, criminal, they all exist. They exist. We lived in a civilized society once, if we all remember. And it's time to send that message loud and clear. But yeah, let's definitely let people that are elected know that their time is up, and there are people that are willing to step up. They make it ugly to run for office. Don't be afraid. It's just noise. If you know someone good, I'm happy to campaign for them. But it's time. It's time to shake things up a little bit.
We appreciate all your support, especially securing the funds for Golden Beach. It's nice to have someone in our backyard that supports Golden Beach. So with that.
Yep.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't take an opportunity to just publicly mention a couple of issues, Representative, that are always important to our communities. Not everything is money, and so I would just like to just bring to your staff's attention, and you've heard this from me, but the council is aware of this. So issues that we as a Barrier Island community are faced with every day, and we're fighting our partners at the state. It's how do we armor our beaches, so allow bulkheads to be installed in communities like ours. The state is adamantly against it. We need your help. It's legislative help, not budgetary help. So when we're talking about beach armoring, mandating that the state allow our houses to connect to the sewer system that we have. We currently have over 14 homes that are on septic or retaining tanks, and the county is not allowing us to connect to an existing sewer system. Any help that the state can assist there. Also making sure that when state mandates are drafted in session, that during committee week, that you make sure that you keep an eye out for small mandates that are difficult for small cities. Sometimes small cities can't deal with the mandates that come from Tallahassee, so, and I know that you're anti-big government, so anything that you can help there. As you know, disclosure bills are difficult for us, and then of course, any help that the state can offer to small cities in terms of offering post-retirement benefits for their staff and offsetting those costs for us will be always welcome from the state. I want to thank you for your partnership. Know that your representative actually turned a strong Democratic district. This district has been Democratic for over 30 years. I was able to turn it red, and because of that success is why it's not only that, but his personality is coming to the state. He was able to get a lot for Golden Beach. You've been a great partner. He joined us last Friday night at our police appreciation event, and I can tell you that his staff has been in contact with me a little bit too much sometimes. Just kidding. I'm just kidding about that. I've been in contact for whatever we could do to deliver, and we want to thank you for being here on our 94th anniversary. We look forward to seeing you at our 95th.
And I'm here to learn from you guys too. I never pretended I knew how to do all of this, but my heart's in the right place and I'm willing to work hard. So I'm going to depend a lot on the relationships I build from people that have a lot of experience. It takes a village, so educate me, point me in the right direction, and I'm happy to knock down some doors for us.
And also, we always make this available to your staff and to you. We have a monthly newsletter that comes out. Anything that you want to put into the homes of our residents, we've done these for you so we get the word out. Thank you.
Thank you.
To piggyback on the comment about police, we're very proud this evening, and we're very fortunate that we have Lieutenant Yvonne Diaz, who's going to be promoted to captain this evening. Lieutenant Diaz. Lieutenant Diaz has worked for the town of Golden Beach since December 2008, when he was hired as a community service aide. He became a Golden Beach police officer in March 2009. Not so quick. While assigned to Patrol Division, he served many different capacities, including Marine Patrol, Homeland Security Task Force Officer, Assistant Detectives, in multiple cases, including several undercover operations. In 2014, he was promoted to the rank of Sergeant and was assigned to the Field Operation Division, overseeing the day shift patrol assignments, which included Marine Patrol, motors, communication, beach attendants, and ocean rescue. Lieutenant Diaz was promoted to the rank of lieutenant in January 2016 and was assigned to Field Operation Division, subsequently to the Administrative Division, overseeing police vehicle fleet, police radio communication, CFA Department accreditation process, code compliance, internal affairs, community criminal investigations, recruitment, training, and also payroll. And that's before lunch. Lieutenant Diaz has attended a number of training and development courses over the years, including the SPI Command Officer Development Course, Florida Executive Development Training Class taught by the FBI, Future Police Chiefs Training, and also law enforcement instructor. Now Captain Diaz holds an associate degree in criminal justice and is currently working toward obtaining a bachelor degree in public administration. I can tell you that I've worked with now Captain Diaz since day one, and he's a pleasure to work with, and he's a team player, he's a great leader. Whenever there's a situation in Golden Beach, he is always well versed on it and always on top of it. So this evening, it's an honor to swear you in as captain. If you could come up and I could repeat after me. You can, oh, perfect.
There's a table.
He's so short. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to look taller. Yeah.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Captain Yvonne Diaz,
I, Captain Giovanni Diaz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I am entitled to hold the office
that I am entitled to hold the office
to which I am appointed,
to which I'm appointed,
and that I will support,
and that I will support,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Government of the United States
defend the Constitution of the Government of the United States
and the state of Florida
and the state of Florida
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith,
that I will bear true faith,
loyalty,
loyalty,
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and that I will faithfully, without fear
and I will faithfully, without fear
or favor,
or favor,
perform all the duties of police captain
perform all the duties of the police captain
of the town of Golden Beach,
of the town of Golden Beach,
of which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And on my honor,
And on my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or my public trust.
or my public trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself
to hold myself
and others accountable
and others accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will always uphold
I will always uphold
the Constitution,
the Constitution,
the community of Golden Beach,
the community of Golden Beach,
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I believe, is your son here?
Yes.
So if your son could come up, I believe you want to
Gavin and
pin the badge on your dad.
Two sons.
All right, Gio, stand.
Hold up. Let me shake hands here.
Better make sure you're nice to him before.
If I could slide out.
Stand here. Oh, you can do that. Good call. All right,
How you guys doing? Welcome. Welcome. Who's going to have the honor of pinning this on your
Mayor,
badge?
we also have,
Oh,
we
you're
also
gonna
have
kill
Calvin's mother. And of course, you guys know that his wife works in our building department, Monica. His brother is here. So let's take a picture. It's not your moment.
Ooh, that hurts.
No, he's good.
his brother's fiance maybe one day. You know what? And family friend, right?
My sister.
Sister, oh wait, where's the sister?
Here.
Oh, I thought. Okay. So it's a family affair. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
And Mayor, again, and Mayor, so as you know, we'd like to always, we'd like to do a couple things here in Golden Beach. So one, Captain Diaz was one of our recruits that we actually sent to the academy and have him come join us. He was a CSA. For all of our men and women in blue, the mayor and I and this council are always committed to find ways to help you grow in your positions and for you to know that there's a ladder of success that is always open and available to you. Unlike other municipalities that like to go to the outside to find their staff, we've only done that twice. And so, you know, Chief Herbello has been able to build a strong team of leaders. One of the things that Rudy committed to me when he promoted the 2 lieutenants is to help mentor our staff to make sure that they are always capable to step in and assist the chief. The chief has been able to build a successful team. During his tenure, we were one of the only cities in Northeast State County to ever get accredited through the help of both Captain Diaz and Lieutenant Perez. And we have been reaccredited on three consecutive times. One of the only cities in this area to be able to do so. While other cities have been put on probation and one city lost its accreditation, we've been able to hold up ours. We've been able to build our department to a team that you can see them here today. We are the best trained, the best equipped. We will continue to do so. That's been our commitment all along. And so this is part of our leadership program. And so congratulations, Captain Diaz, for your connection.
Steve, can you come up for a picture? Thanks. Can you get a picture too?
Of course.
Oh wait, actually. I'm not sure what we're looking at. Monica.
Straight Monica.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also for-
Congratulations, thank you.
Also for the audience and for the representative who's still here, as you know, part of our program in trying to become a regional partner. So Golden Beach has never seen itself as an island or barrier island unto ourselves. Part of our program, and I think the council knows this, whenever there's a call for assistance in any of our neighboring cities, we assist. In fact, Sergeant Soka, while responding to a call in Miami Shores, was injured on the job. Was our first police officer injured on the job 6 years ago, and that was in response to helping another community. When in 2007, the Samoano shooting occurred in Florida City. That night, on the evening news, the only police cars that you saw on every single news network was Golden Beach Police. We've been able to build a regional team, and as you know, we inaugurate the building that's being built outside these windows in just a few months, and I promise it will be just a few more months. We will be the only barrier island city in the nation. Let me say that again. We'll be the only barrier island city in the nation that will have a landfall team bunker, which will allow our first responders from Sunny Isles, Hollywood, and Hallandale Beach to join us in our bunker to respond to hurricanes. And this is because of the leadership of this team and your vision. So congratulations.
Thank you to all you guys, thank you.
I will now invite the family and staff to join the captain at a celebratory dinner. You guys may leave and let us get going with our meeting. Representative, but let's ask you guys to set up.
Thank you, guys.
Somebody grab a tray, don't order dessert, take this with you to the.
Thank you, everyone.
No, I wasn't joking. Take these trees with you guys. That will be good. Rudy. We have plenty of cakes in the back. This will also be used by both.
No, one.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is,
Okay, guys, moving right along. Next on the agenda is motion to set agenda, additions, deletions, removal of items from the consent agenda or changes to the agenda. I have none. Fellow council members? None. Staff? None. Okay, moving on to good and welfare. Is anyone here to speak on good and welfare? Okay. Anyone on, I'm sorry, Zoom?
The laptop, like somebody must have unplugged the cord. This is why we need a new
What's that?
The cord must have been unplugged with everyone in here. So we can't see.
It's on that side.
Okay. Moving right along, mayor's report, a few quick items. First of all, summer feels like it's here already. Please start preparing for hurricane season. As everyone knows, it's a few weeks away. If you're leaving for the summer, please take precautions, prepare your house for hurricane season. Also notify the town if you're leaving for security reasons so they can put an extra watch on your house. On Friday, there was a police appreciation dinner. It was a great success. That dinner was a recommendation from a resident, really appreciate it. And I know the police department really appreciated it. And it was a great turnout by all. I mean, thank you for all the residents that attended for the meeting. Thanks to all the town staff that attended to the meeting, and thanks to the police department and their families who showed up. It was a huge success, and I know the police really appreciated it. They could not thank myself, the town manager, and I know the other council members as well during the whole evening. It was also great to see Sergeant Jose Batista and his family there. He really was appreciative. As everyone knows, he's recovering at home, and hopefully he'll make a speedy recovery, but obviously he's going to be out for some time, and appreciate all the staff and all the residents showing great support to him and his family. On Monday the 29th is Memorial Day celebration. I know that Councilwoman Luskin has been working extremely hard on it. She does every year. It's a great event. I can't urge and tell my fellow council members and the residents how important it is to attend, and I know it's a special evening, which I'm sure she'll comment on this evening with flag burning, and it's going to be a fun evening, and again, that's Monday the 29th, and please show your support to for Memorial Day, and Councilwoman Luskin, thanks for all the hard work you always do. It's a great job, and I know it's going to be a great event.
Thank you.
The town manager, myself, and Lisette toured the new town hall on Monday, and I can assure you it's moving slowly but surely, and the progress is great. The town manager is going to give us an update this evening on that project, where we sit, what's our expectations, and the other projects that we have ongoing throughout the town. A quick little note that's important, and it's been mentioned to me a few times in the last few days. After the election, the council and I made a promise that we would better communicate to the residents with what's going on in town, and I feel that we've done made tremendous progress with communication. The town sends emails, we send e-blasts. We have 2 new TV monitors, one on the Strand and one on Southgate. We do social. We're doing flyers now in the mailbox. Before we were doing them below the mailbox, but I noticed that people weren't pulling them out, so now we're putting the flyers in the mailbox. We do the newsletter, we do robocalling, and we're currently constantly updating our website.
And there's
So,
streets. You guys put
right, street signs, right. So there's been tremendous progress in communication. We can always communicate better. If anyone has any suggestions, we're open to suggestions. But I think we've really improved over the last several months with communication. The reason I mention this is because if a resident has a question on an event that occurred or a situation that had occurred, before they put anything out to the public, I urge you to talk to the town manager or the police chief. Or if you can't get a hold of them, myself, I'm always available, or my fellow council members are always available. Because I know there's a group chat out there, and I think that's great for certain things for the group chat. I mean, when Ken Bernstein let his dog out and he ran away, it was on the group chat and everyone was looking for the dog. So, I mean, certain things like that, the chat is great for. But I have to tell you, if before you put something in the chat, please confirm and verify it. Because several residents have mentioned to me, they're a little disturbed that residents put stuff on the chat that turns out not to be true. Okay, and I'm not saying do the chat's great. I'm not on the chat, the town manager's not on the chat, the police chief's not on the chat, because otherwise we'll be communicating all the time. Everyone is always free to call me, the town manager, or the chief anytime. I always give out my number and everyone always has the number. We just don't want any false rumors occurring. But I think, don't get me wrong, I'm all pro for the chat. You know, it's great for communication and it's great for all the residents. I just don't want any accurate information going out on the chat. And it's important, and residents have brought it to my attention, and it's a concern of theirs and also a concern of the administration. So with that, hoping everyone has a great summer. We do have another meeting in June before the summer recess, but we're very excited with the progress we're making and the progress for this year. I cannot believe it's in the middle of May already. It seems like it was just January. So, you know, the old saying, the older you get, the faster time flies. That is so true. So with that, I'm going to move to council comments, and I'll first start with Vice Mayor Bernstein.
Thank you. I'd like to start with congratulating Captain Diaz, who's in the other room celebrating, and offer support again to Sergeant Batista and his family, and just give acknowledgement to how well not only did the police department staff and everybody respond, but I was so impressed with how all the residents of Golden Beach came together and contributed so much to help Sergeant Batista and his family. I want to thank Representative Sabe for coming, and when I listened to him talk, the first things he said were probably the most important to me in terms of what's going on in this county, and probably South Florida. I was just at the League of Cities, and one of the major conversations we were having all throughout that with everybody was just the enforcement of laws, and how we have a lot of antiquated laws that are on the books with regards to juveniles and repeat offenders. And I strongly believe that if we don't start enforcing these laws or come up with better laws, we're just going to have encourage more and more people to do things because they don't feel like there's any type of possibility that they're going to be put into any type of jail. And so it's just going to encourage more and more people to do that. And I think that we need to start having a louder voice. And I believe this whole defund police movement that happened several years ago, we need to be in the reverse position with that and start helping protect our police officers, especially after what happened just within our own community. So I applaud Representative for that, and I hope that we put a strong message to our state attorney and to the state attorney of Broward, who, if I understand correctly, is not prosecuting the full way that I would have thought for a prosecutor that is looking at dealing with a police officer that I shot, and which I always thought was the worst thing that you can do, because if someone would shoot a police officer, that means they do almost anything. And by not prosecuting everybody that's with that police officer when they're shot, it's going to weaken the ability for people to say, hey, when we're going doing a crime, are we going to be armed? And I just think that if you keep that on the books where it's enforcing everyone who's a conspirator, then you're going to be in a better position to discourage these type of activities from going on. And I just can't stress that enough. Regarding the group chat, yes, that was my dog. But I think also we have close to 160 people on there, and things like Hotwire or messages about police appreciation, or just more we get the message out, the GoFundMe's for Sergeant Batista. I just think there's a lot of beneficial things, but I do believe, like the mayor had said, the one thing that I've stressed it on the chat is that we should not be talking about crimes that are happening in this city or town and scaring people, because the town will come out and make a statement very quickly afterwards, and I think it's better to get the information straight out from the town than listen to people and have people put a lot of scary messages out there that often are not true. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Einstein?
Wow. the mayor and the vice mayor both made great comments. I think actions speak louder than words, and I think the town really stood up for the police, and I'm very proud, of course, of our police department, but I'm also proud of our residents who came out and showed their appreciation and let the police know how much we care and need them. And I think they're aware of it. I think they really appreciated it also. Again, echoing all the sentiments that the mayor and vice mayor made, I don't think I need to embellish them any further. I think they made their points, and I think they're well taken. I think we do need to communicate with the state attorney if what I'm sort of the first time I'm hearing some of this. I heard part of it, but I think there's a lot more that I'm not aware of, and I support our council, the mayor, and our town manager to go forward and make our voice heard, along with our representative. I think it's very important.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Luskin.
I'd like to echo everybody's comments regarding police appreciation. I think the one thing sometimes the residents don't realize, they're our family. And when something happens in town, and we put out so many emails in regards to don't leave your key fobs in the car, don't leave this, because when somebody perpetrates a crime, they don't believe they're going to get caught. That's why they'll probably do anything. So by leaving the key fobs in the car, the residents are upset their car may be stolen. But I also look at it from the point of view, it puts our police officer at risk for no real good reason. And they're always going to go out and fight the good fight. Otherwise, you never can prevent crime anywhere if you just defund the police and just let it happen. So they're our family, and when town hall closes and it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, yes, town manager is always available, council is always available. But when you have an emergency and you hit 911 or the substation, the first person that's there is a Golden Beach police officer. And it's like having family there. So I urge everybody to please appreciate what we have, especially since so many of our police officers have worked with us for so many years that we know their families. It's very hurtful. I mean, I was really upset when Joseph got shot, because it's like we know him so well for so many years, so I'd like to emphasize that. Another thing about the chat group, aside from the importance of the information coming out on it being correct, and it's never really correct unless it comes from the administration, because there's so much emotion that's attached to it, that everybody has a different opinion as to what's going on. Was it this, was it that? But I also want to remind everybody that it's social media, and in it and on those chats is everybody's phone number. It also reflects where an incident may have happened with the person's name or the resident's name. And that's not always good either, because I don't feel convinced that everyone on the chat is a Golden Beach resident. I don't chat on there, but I do have to admit I look at it, but I never really comment. And I just often say to myself, oh, I just wish that wasn't there. Why should anyone know where so lives and what their phone number is and what their name or their kids' names are? So I'm kind of willy-nilly about municipalities in these chat rooms. Memorial Day. I've been doing Memorial Day for as long as I can remember. And I always put a lot of time into it. It's become very near and dear to my heart. And as I was doing some research for this Memorial Day, because I like to make each one very different, I had read about burning flags. And I said, oh, how horribly disrespectful. Because every time I read about a burnt American flag, it's during a riot or somebody stomping on it. And I started to read and I started to research it. And then I called the sentinel from the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, who visits us every Veterans Day and Memorial Day. And he said, absolutely, it is the best way to honor flags that are not fit for use anymore, that may be torn, tattered, old. Matter of fact, Golden Beach Police Department has 4 of them that they never were sure what to do with and save them, and we're using them for Memorial Day. So there will be a fire. We're calling it Golden Beach Memorial Day Watch Fire. It should be magnificent. I wish I could make it 8 o'clock at night so we could really see it, which was really the purpose of burning flags, was to make it available and very bright so troops could find their way back when they were lost. So I'm encouraging every resident, families, kids, please come. It's an enjoyable day. It's followed by a barbecue. I hope perhaps you could make it. And that's about it for me tonight.
Thank you.
May 29th, 5 o'clock.
Councilman Mandel, I know you're on Zoom. You have any comments?
Yeah, just apologies I couldn't be there with you guys today in person. I'll be there in the next meeting. I think everything's been said that needs to be said by my fellow council members. Just wanted to reiterate heartfelt congratulations to Gio. But everything else, you guys have touched upon it, so that's it.
Thank you. Moving right along to town manager's report.
505. 505 vehicles have been stolen from northeast Miami-Dade County in the last 4 months. In February, I went before Channel 10 and called the state attorney out in her inaction to prosecute crimes as relates to car thefts and juveniles. Just last week, our mayor had an over an hour conversation with the state attorney trying to persuade her to take action. 2 weeks prior to Sergeant Batista's shooting, 2 weeks prior to Sergeant Batista's shooting, I, while working as a police officer, arrested 4 juveniles for stealing or attempting to steal a Maybach off of South Island. While we were making the arrest, the parent of one of the arrestees showed up to our substation and said, "Release my child to me, because that's what you typically have to do." And when we informed her that we were actually going to make the arrest and transport them to the JAC, which is the Juvenile Assessment Center, she said no one has ever done that. And when we ran that child's criminal history, nothing came up. However, that person had been arrested and charged with 21 other counts between Broward and West Palm Beach. And we had no idea that that person had 21 other charges. So the issues of car thefts and crime by minorities, by minors in our area is very real. On the morning of April 29th at 3 in the morning, at the direction of this council and because of a project that we created, so in April, the council asked the chief and I apologize I dismissed him so early, but asked the chief and I to come up with a plan to how we can combat auto thefts in our community. We've had 5 vehicles stolen in our community over the course of the last year. We created a joint task force with Sunny Owls, and it's the Sunny Owls and Golden Beach Auto Theft Task Force. That evening, a car that was stolen went through Bal Harbor. Bal Harbor decided that it was not going to continue to follow that vehicle, and Sunny Owls and Golden Beach police picked it up. While giving chase to that vehicle in Hallandale Beach, the suspects ran into the bridge on Hallandale Beach, exited the vehicle, hid from our police. A perimeter was set up with dogs and canines, and unfortunately, Sergeant Batista was shot in the arm. I just sent each of you a text picture of the surgery that he had and the recovery. The worst call that a mayor and a manager can get at 3 in the morning is that an officer was down. I want to publicly thank our mayor, our council, and our residents for the overwhelming amount of support that he has given to Officer Batista and his family. Nancy and Joseph would have loved them in here today. They just had another event at Memorial Hospital, Hollywood Memorial Hospital, where they're recognizing individuals of trauma. So know that the Batista family is extremely happy, grateful for all of the support that you have given him. Although his road to recovery will be a long one, he knows that we are there to support him every step of the way. And even while we find out whether or not this is a career-ending injury, which it may be, we will support him in every step of the way. I'm glad the representative is still here. Know that our community puts its money where its mouth is. Over the month of April and May, we have put over $80,000 worth of overtime and resources to combat crime in South Florida. We need the help from the state. People need to know that when you perpetrate crime, you will not get away with it, irrespective of what your age is. It is disgusting that parents are using their children to perpetrate crime because they believe that they're not going to be held responsible. With the permission of our mayor, we are exploring actually filing civil suit against the families of these children, holding them accountable for the loss of revenue that we've had and for the cost that it's carrying us. It is unprecedented for a city to ever explore these options, but we're making it clear. If you perpetrate a crime in Golden Beach and you think you're going to get away with the criminal charges, we're going to go after you civilly. And so we're exploring those opportunities for us because we want to make sure that people are aware that crime has consequences And when a parent shows up to pick up their child while they're committing an act of crime, that parent should also be held responsible for this children's action. So again, it's unfortunate that what happened to Joseph happened. Know that it happened because we still have a joint task force to combat all of them in our community. Know that we also are seeing other crimes that are happening. We're seeing more vagrants coming into our community and taking up liberties in people's backyards. We're gonna be as aggressive as we can. In my report on projects, we're adding 208 additional camera lenses in our community to help us fight crime. But we are seeing what's going on in the nation. There's more vagrants, there's more homelessness, and people are coming to this warm, sunny environment where they know they can get away with things that are occurring. Know that we will be as aggressive as we can to keep our community safe and keep our home values where they are, thanks to the work that you've done. As the mayor has said and the representative also said, the legislative session came to an end just last week or 2 weeks ago. We were able to receive 2 appropriations, and let's put pressure on the governor not to veto like he's done for the last 2 appropriations. Our request, $850,000 for the wellness center and $300,000 for our park project. And so thank you, Representative, for championing those efforts. Mayor and council, if you could each reach out to your friends and family who have contacts in the governor's office to add some support for our projects, that would go a very long way. And know that we would like to see that occur. As the mayor, I'm going to talk about the projects in my report. Know that it is the summer. We do have a great event scheduled for Memorial Day. We encourage all of our residents to attend. Also, our June council meeting has been moved to June 6th. June 6th at 6 p.m. That's just 2 weeks away. So we're going to be aggressive in putting together a very light agenda. We don't have that many items that we'll be discussing, and most of my report will come in during the project updates because I have a lot of project updates for you, and I'll hold those to that report. And Mayor, there was a resident that had a question during council comments. Ms. Eilenberg, I believe, had a question, if you would allow her to. Sure.
I'm sorry for the ignorance, maybe Fabian can answer this, but what does it mean that the state is not prosecuting?
So I could give you an example on that. If the
Go ahead,
representative
that's the question.
So let me tell you what happened with the arrest that I made. So I arrested 4 people, and we charged them with 8 crimes. We charged them with trespassing, burglary, possession of marijuana, grand theft. And so the state said, hey, why are you charging so many things? You should reduce the charges. They tried to convince me that burglary and trespassing was the same crime, and I had to educate them that burglary to a car is not trespassing to the property. And so the state is trying to, what they're trying to do is reduce charges. They're trying to plea the cases out, so you do like a plea where you get community service instead of going to jail. And so what happens when you do these pleas, like this case with this person we had 21 other charges in other counties, and so when we run them, there's no history there because he's never served time in jail. And so they're taking pleas.
But is that because we don't have the funding, let's say, to house, like, as, right? Is it because?
That's the state representative.
Is it because we don't have the funding to, let's say, house these, people in jail, or, there's not enough room in jail, or,
Well,
is there?
we are the richest district in the entire country. So money is there. Is it allocated where it's supposed to go? Is the money serving its purpose? That's a question for your local elected officials in the state of Florida. A lot of it is a paper shuffle, around election season. Municipalities like to see that the crime rate's down. So if you're, not prosecuting, then the crime never happened. Yet, I visited way too many counties. So it's time that we send a really clear message.
So they basically give them plea agreements, they sign the plea agreement, and that's it. They're out, they're home free.
Yeah, and again, if you have very little consequence, what would prevent you from doing it again?
But these are policies that are set forth by each individual state attorney or district attorney, wherever they, in our case, Kathy.
It's both Broward and Dade County, both are the issues.
And
a lot of times they just want to get the files.
State attorney for
No.
different, but they're both
Different.
in.
And they're elected officials.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Can I just add, just
Sure.
before we move on, in regards to Joseph Batista? I want to thank Madison Burnt because she put together that GoFundMe page along with Uzi Hardoon, and she worked hard, took half a day or so, put it together, and before we knew it, it was off and running. So thank you to all the residents that helped with that.
Thank you. Town attorney report. Steve, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have any comments?
Just to tell you that we were successful in finally getting an agreement on the Phase 3 security cameras with Hotwire and I know that that work is already commencing. I'm working with Set and the chief on trying to get the various easements that we need, but we're underway.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving right along to ordinances, second reading, there are none. Ordinances, first reading, there are none. Quasi-judicial resolution, there are none. Town manager, project update on on the Civic Center, closed circuit TV, and reimagine Tweedle Park.
Sure, Mayor, as I shared with you at the last council meeting, so even though it seems like the project is moving at a snail's pace, and at some days it does feel like that way, the project is still within the contractual timeline for delivery of the project. We just took a tour of it just this past Monday. I try to go at least every other day to see what's going on there. All of the drywall is up, all of the electrical, all of the wiring. It is a smart building. It's a safe building. It's a somewhat green building. All of that's moving along. Let me share with you where we're seeing some impediments. So the elevator company has continued to kick the can down the road. We hope that tomorrow there'll be a final agreement as to when the elevator shafts will start to be built. We do have a commitment from the elevator company that both elevators will be going in at the same time, so instead of delivering one and then start on the second, they'll have two teams building the elevators. The building itself will start to get its final stucco and painting. That work will be commenced next week. The flooring in the building will come in soon after the terrazzo's floor is installed. We just approved the furniture order, so the furniture will be delivered in time with the building. As I shared with the council at the last meeting, there are a couple of owner-driven change orders that I'll bring to you after your summer recess. These are owner request changes to make the building more stately and to create more of a government status feel of the building. And so that's happening on the third floor as it relates to our atrium and as it relates to the entryway. If you notice while you're driving by, all of the frame for the gold facade wrap is there. We're holding off on installing the frame, the actual facade work until the building is painted. Just this morning we had another civil meeting where we released civil to begin. So we'll be starting to see more civil work on the site. It is my goal that we will have our September budget hearings in the new building with a more robust AV system than what we have today. So the building is moving along. I will schedule another walkthrough with each of you before you leave for your summer recess so you can see inside the building what we've done and to share with you some of the owner-driven changes that you'll be approving after the fact at your August council meeting will be when we bring the change orders to you. As Steve mentioned, we finally signed and executed a addendum to the Hotwire contract for CCTV, where we're adding an additional 84 locations. Let me say that again. 84 additional locations on top of the 77 locations that we currently have for a closed circuit television program with 208 additional lenses. That is a 10-year agreement. The funds for that have already been approved. We will see no increases to our residents whatsoever as it relates to any type of assessments or additional increases to our millage rate. We're going to be able to absorb most of the service costs as part of our commitment. As we have always anticipated and will bring to you at your June council meeting for approval, the town will be providing the poles and electricity to each of the locations. We were able to convince, and thankfully they agreed. So where we find to be the most difficult place to install poles will be on the ocean and on the intercoastal, because of the challenges that are presented by putting in poles and foundations on the sand and on the waterways. Know that the state of Florida, we met with them, they have no objection whatsoever to our cameras being installed along the state's shoreline, so we have that. But Hotwire will be picking up the full cost of installation at where we consider the most difficult places to install the poles. So they'll be absorbing that cost as part of the final agreement. We will start to see the project being worked on, and we will have full delivery of the project no later than January of next year. We hope that we will have it by November, but that gives us a little bit of buffer room so that if we can't meet the November deadline, we'll have it by January. So by January, and by the way, just so that our residents know, since we've seen some of these issues having occurred in our community already, some of your existing cameras, so all of your pedestrian gate cameras and the cameras on Ocean Boulevard, we have already updated and have the analytics, and in fact the analytics have worked. We have already been able to stop 2 people coming into the town because the cameras sent off an alert saying, hey, something has entered my view field, and we've been able to go in. So the CCTV project is finally executed and underway, and we look forward to delivering those projects. Like I did mention, we will be bringing an item to you at the June meeting for approval of the purchasing of these, of the 84 poles and the installation. For Reimagine Trailer Park, we had a meeting this morning. Let me kind of explain to you what we're gonna be doing. We seem to be very comfortable with the budget that we proposed for the park. So if you remember, we have always proposed a $1.5 million, $1.7 million park. Representative Basan, I can't always pronounce the last name, Fabian, Representative Fabian, has been able to deliver $300,000 for our park project, which will help offset our costs for the youth lot. Let me explain to you what's gonna go first. So we are going to be doing all of the stormwater improvements in the park, including the north side of the park and all of the recreational facilities. We're gonna be installing the wall along the north side of the park, adjacent to Eilenberg's house. Ms. Eilenberg was here today, to hear about this and all the exciting projects that we have in our community. Right now, the proposal, after the $237,000 credit that we're gonna get from Garrett's, we're looking at about an $800,000 project for the recreational facilities to include retaining walls around all of our tennis courts and our pickleball courts. One change that we are going to be bringing to you at the June meeting for your strong consideration, and hopefully you will support it. So remember, we have always debated clay courts ad nauseum, and then we agreed with turf courts. Well, there's a new product that a lot of courts are going to that have zero maintenance. With a turf court, you have to add aggregate every 3 months, and you have to keep it from growing fungus, and when it is wet, it can be very slippery. So what more and more communities are going towards, and what more of the professional associations are going towards, is a cushion court. It's a little bit more expensive, but we're working on that number. And so what it is that and you've been to gymnasium where you walk in and the floor is soft, and it's a cushion. There's a new product, it's been around for about 5 years, where they're putting in on all the courts that goes underneath the top layer, and it creates a softer, even better than the turf court in terms of on your knees and on your body, but it has the same rate of speed for the ball. So we're gonna be bringing you that at your June council meeting for you to explore. Hopefully you'll adopt that. It has zero maintenance, so we wouldn't have to be adding aggregate to the turf. All we would have to do is basically keep the courts free of debris by blowing them. And so we're looking at that. As we learn that there's new technology, we need to evolve, and so we're gonna be asking the council to look at that. And I am gonna find a couple locations here in South Florida that have it, so we could go on a tour of it, so you can see it and explore it. If the council decides that's not the way that it wants to go, we'll still go with the turf court as you have already approved. But we think on the long term, from a maintenance perspective.
Is this for one of the three?
It's one of the three, correct. It's built for one of the three.
Okay.
And so should the council approve the change order, we'll be bringing to you at the June meeting, the change order to approve the recreational facilities. That's phase one. Don't forget, phase two is the upgrade to the stormwater system, which we were able to get a grant. Last year, there was a grant and an appropriation for updating the stormwater system as part of phase two, and then of course phase three.
Sorry, just interrupt. It's the same phase as we went over last meeting.
Yeah, you're correct.
Okay, nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. We hope to bring to the council at your September meeting a contract for award for the stormwater upgrade, and then of course phase three is the wellness center site, and then the tot lot. We still plan to go out to bid for the tot lot design and have a recreational facility do that. So the projects are moving along, and again, there'll be a couple changes brought to you, and contracts to approve as it relates to those facilities. I'm ready to answer any questions on the project.
Real quickly, the money that you just said we got from the state or something, is that subject to veto, or
It is.
I'm sorry
It is.
that
Yeah, it is.
I'm not well versed on where we are at this point in time, but
So once the bill is laid before the governor for his approval, of course, the governor has line item veto in the state. We're working aggressively with the representative and others to help make sure that our projects survive this time, although he has killed our projects in the past. We hope that he'll be more sympathetic to Golden Beach this year. Know that we don't count on those dollars for our projects. We try to always live within our means, but it's always helpful when our state partners recognize that a small community of only 380 buildable lots who pay its fair share of taxes and is a donor city can help build these projects. Also, Mayor, I know that it's not part of our project updates, but I do want to share with you that actually I'll do it during the LETF item. I'll reserve it for that.
No, go.
No.
You wanna talk? Go.
Oh,
We have another 6 hours? No. I have a question, Alex. Can you give us a timeline on the security cameras?
Yeah, so once we deliver the poles, and so remember, the town is responsible for first erecting the poles at each of the locations, and then they're gonna be sequenced. Our sequence is, we're gonna do Ocean Boulevard first. We believe that that's where we have the most vulnerability, and our Ocean Boulevard residents should be protected just as well as our interior residents. So we'll hopefully start to see pole installation to start sometime in July. So if the council approved the poles purchases in June, in July you'll see the infrastructure. The good thing is that all of our camera locations, when it comes to power supply, it's already there, because we're gonna be piggybacking off of our streetlight system. And so the whole system is required to be installed by January of next year. We hope to have it ready by November.
But once we install the ones on the beach, they'll go up live immediately, right?
The
Or is
ones
it,
on Ocean Boulevard first.
right, but the whole system doesn't have to go
No,
up?
no, no, no. So excellent question. So as the phases are being delivered, so the first phase is Ocean Boulevard, A1A first. Then we're gonna go to the Ocean, secure that. Then we'll go to the intercoastal and then the interior town. So we're hoping that we will first create the perimeter and then the interior.
Okay, anyone have any comments or questions?
I have
Gordon?
a question. Alex, and in terms of the recreation part, are we still gonna work in phases of demolition for each part? So like first one, the tennis courts, is that still, there's a
Yes.
sequence to that?
So, and that's an excellent point. So I wanna start mentally preparing our residents, because sometimes they get super excited and the calls won't stop. So we are going to be shutting down all recreation as it relates to the tennis courts relatively soon. After the council approves the change order, we need to start digging everything up. We need to put pipe in the ground, we need to put catch basins, we need to put in wells. Then we're going to protect our top lot. So the top lot and the use pavilion will be protected so that our residents can continue to enjoy that as we're installing the wall on the north side of the park. So as we install the wall and the tennis courts are delivered, that gets done. We will demo the stormwater system, we'll work on this site, and then at the end, we'll demo the pavilion and the top lot for the installation of the use.
And while the new ones that are installed, will they be open already once they're complete while they rebuild, while they build the other ones, or we're gonna wait for all of it to complete?
So we'll put in the new top lot before we turn.
How long you out for the shoulder?
Sorry, guys.
No, good.
I have to excuse myself, there's one more
How long
Thank
you
you
out
guys.
for the
Thank you.
shoulder?
Thank you for doing
Thank
that.
you. All right, have a good one. All right, we'll be in touch.
What's the downtime on that?
I'll see you soon.
Bye, baby, so good to see you.
So,
Yes, you told me.
so our commitment, this council's commitment is that we continue to provide elements of the project to be open while we complete construction. Mr. Klinger, we're getting to you.
I actually have a comment or question for the
Yeah.
Do you guys have your electrical meter in?
So all of the electrical for the facility, all the fixtures have already been ordered and they're delivered. That was part of the GMP price for the project. And remind the council, the lights for the recreational facilities were also part of that original contract, and those fixtures have already been. I'm not sure what that means.
So boxes and panels,
Yes.
because I've been having issues, several projects on.
So all of our panels and all of our panels and the cutoff switches and all that stuff is already installed in that project, and I can't forget what it's used, but we're basically using the same electrical component for the buildings to service the park.
You can't get the panels? They're,
I have a job in New Jersey, in November, I just got the panels. My house also, they're telling me April 2024.
for your house?
So I have to switch out, I'm using, they have these really high rated panels now that are basically spraying water hard on them, you have to, nothing happens to them. There's like a level down that you get pretty readily, and there's like, there's ways to get around it, but there's certain gear that's just not available.
Yeah, that we definitely, the mayor actually, we physically saw all, because one of the boxes I thought was the panel box,
Right.
the cutoff. But yeah, it's all there. We physically have seen it, it's been installed, and we're excited.
We saw
By the
it
way,
yesterday.
we already have the power on in the building, and we already turned on the air conditioning in the building. We're doing I forgot the term, there's a term.
It's called seal test.
Yeah, that's the
Pressure
that's
test.
the pressure test. But we're starting to see certain good things happening in the building.
Okay, moving right along, consent agenda. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. Item number 1, official minutes of the April 18th, 2023 regular town council meeting. Item number 2, a resolution of the town council appointing appointing a member to the Building Regulatory Advisory Board. That will be Michael Klinger, thank you. Item number 3, a resolution of Town Council appointing a member to the Security and Public Safety Advisory Committee. That would be Jeff Sun, thank you. And a resolution of Town Council approving the employment agreement with Marie Talley. And item number 5, a resolution of Town Council approving the interlocal agreement between the town, Miami-Dade County, for the enforcement of civil penalties and code violations. Those 5 items are on
Jeff Stone just gave a wave on the.
Those 5 items are on the consent agenda. Everyone in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone disapprove? Congratulations and appreciate both,
Congratulations.
Jeff and Michael to devoting your time for the committees. Very important. I mean, as important as the council, the committees are just as important, if not more important, especially the Building Regulatory Board and also the security. So thank you both, gentlemen. I really appreciate that.
I know that I talk too much, but I just want to
No.
I want to thank Linda Epperson, our assistant town manager, who has served the community and the Building Advisory Board for over 28 years. And so one of the things, and I want to say this, Mr. Klinger, and I don't want to call you out on this, but I want to make sure. So too often we have residents who want to serve on boards, and then when we have meetings, it's difficult to actually get them to participate. So I'm excited to see that you're going to be joining the board, and I challenge you to try to make as many meetings as you can. One of the challenges that when we don't have a quorum is that we can't get projects to be delivered, and the town is blamed for delaying its projects. So thank you for agreeing. I think that your expertise in the field that you have will be very helpful. I know that you've offered your help and you've used your help as it relates to our project, so I just want to, again, publicly thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And encourage you to participate. And to Mr. Sun, thank you also for volunteering for the security committee. We look forward to all of the suggestions that you may have. I know that you've already sent a bunch of suggestions to the chief, and so thank you for agreeing to serve, and we look forward to your participation. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
And I know that you're on a diet, but you still have to eat some cake.
I literally just put on my calendar, 30-day no dessert, started yesterday, so I'm not doing it.
It's okay.
And it's free, that's like double, that's like
I'm
one of my
impressed.
charters.
By the way,
No dessert.
the mayor will challenge you. We're looking for help when it comes to the wellness center. Mr. Cohen has already agreed to help us in coming up with the right approach to move forward the wellness center. So if you'd like to help me with that, we would welcome you as well.
Definitely. Moving along to town resolution, item number P6, a resolution of town council authorizing the use of available LETF monies for costs associated with the new civic center building. Town clerk?
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, authorizing the expenditure of law enforcement trust funds, LETF monies, for costs associated with the construction and unique equipment of the new civic center building, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
Second.
Town manager, you want to quickly give a summary?
Yeah, and I want to make sure this is clear to the residents, especially those who are watching. We tend to critique what we do, so I just want to be clear. So this is not new money. This is not an increase to the budget. So legally, under state and federal law, in order for us to actually spend LETF dollars, even though they've been budgeted for the last 4 years, the council has to take a formal action, and the police chief has to certify that those dollars are made available and are being used in a lawful purpose for the purposes of combating crime or creating facilities that help reduce crime. As you know, a police department helps combat crime. So part of the building is housing our police department and our bunker. And so we've allocated $1.7 million of LETF dollars for that building, saving our residents taxes and not asking them to pay for this building to that extent. The council is aware this project is a $6 million project. We do have a $4 million note with City National Bank that we've already paid down $300,000. This is has always been part of our intended funding for the project. Using the council's authority and allowing me to use our investment policy, given that our City National Bank note interest is very competitive, we've shifted money around, so we're actually using LETF dollars to pay for our $1.5 million commitment that the town was going to use and not necessarily pay down that note as aggressively as we thought. We think that our cash management is doing well, and we're seeing some really good rates of return. That was what I was going to say earlier, Mayor. We're seeing some really good rates of return right now. The state is paying us 5.06, and we're looking at 5.27 in our investments. And so I'd rather keep cheap money, invest good money, bring in some interest. And Maria, I know that you're paying attention from your office, but really, Ms. Camacho is here. She's in the building. So what we do is we play cash management to make sure that we maximize the amount of interest that we can get and then holding on to the cheap money that we have. As you know, right now borrowing is extremely expensive, and we went to market at a really good time. We do have $7 million in our Northern Trust account. We have 2 CDs that are maturing this month, and so we're looking to make sure that we can leverage that money to get better rates. And so part of this item, know that the mayor and I, every 2 weeks, we go through our cash, and we manage our cash, and we look at our liabilities, and we try to make sure that we could leverage the most that we can. And when I say to our residents that we only asked you for the $14.5 million back in 2007, and then another $7 million this year, we leverage that money for you. And so we've been able to deliver over $63 million in projects because of that leveraging, and thank you to the mayor and council for allowing us to do that.
Alex, it's important, and I know you're not tired, you're talking. Why don't you explain to the residents how we obtained the LTF money?
So in 2007, when I was hired, the first thing that I asked the council to do is to be able to send one of our police officers to join a federal task force, and that was the DEA. And so the way federal forfeited assets work is while working with other agencies, the DEA, IRS, FBI, the South Florida Money Laundering Task Force, if you're part of their initiative, their crime fighting initiative, any houses, cars, boats, or cash that are seized during that operation, the agencies that are participating get a share. It's called a DAG. So we currently have 3 officers detached that they're paid by Golden Beach, but they're working on combating crime throughout the country, typically in South Florida. And so as they DAG, we get money. We have received over $4 million to this community by having our officers work in those projects. With those dollars, we've been able to, thank you, Mayor, for giving me the opportunity, and I love to talk, been able to buy police cars twice. So we first switched to the Ford Explorers and then to the Tahoes. We've been able to outfit our police officers by buying a new boat with LETF dollars.
Canine dogs?
The 3 canine dogs. All of the new weapons that the officers are carrying are also LETF dollars, and we're allowed to use it for projects like the Civic Center.
Bunker.
We could use it for projects like the Wellness Center, so long as there's like a PAL, a Police Athletic League aspect to it. And so these are ways that we can offset your dollars. Now, the mayor and I have agreed that as we're seeing the need for those dollars start to get smaller, because the council will remind you, the council will remind me, you can only use those dollars for one-time items. So we can't buy cars again unless we buy a different type of car. You can't use it to offset your operating budgets, but they're good for one-time unique purchases. So if we were able to go from Tahoes to Durangos, or from Tahoes to Escalades, or something like that, we can use them because it's a new type of fleet, but I can't use them to buy those dollars. So they're dollars that are seized from combating crime. And so we do have 3 detached officers that do that.
So you have to have officers in those.
Correct. So they have to
What's
be in
the current balance in there now? Current balance?
So, as you know, we pledged $1.7 million of LETF dollars for the capital projects at the Civic Center. We currently have $1 million in there. And so what happens, and you'll see this in your audit, Maria, that needs to be approved at the June meeting. What you'll see is that we float the money from general fund, and then as we get the dollars, we pay it back. The reason I've asked you to approve this today is we are gonna start spending that $1 million towards what its intended purposes.
Okay, with that, we have an approval. Any council comments on this item?
No.
Any public comments? Any comments from the Zoom? Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Bernstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin,
Yes.
Councilmember Mendel.
Jaime, can you hear? Okay,
Motion passes.
motion passes. Moving to item number P7, a resolution of Town Council amending the Town Employee Manual to include Law Enforcement Appreciation Day as a holiday.
Yeah, can I just have a minor point of order, and I may be wrong about this, but I think the Jaime's on Zoom.
So, excellent point. So, and the mayor asked this question, and I'm glad that we have training for our council. So know that after the governor didn't allow for actual meetings via Zoom, we have had a tradition here in Golden Beach to always allow our members to participate, and it's a ceremonial. So your attendance does not count and your vote does not count towards passage of the item. We only indicate on our resolution how the member would have voted, so it's a straw position, so that if an issue ever comes back up, you would know where they would stand. But it does not count towards passing or failing of an item, and the attendance does not count. As a reminder,
Ben, thanks for paying attention during the ethics seance.
and as a reminder, if you miss 3 consecutive council meetings, you are removed from council when the council has to replace you. So just be mindful of how many physical meetings you are not in, because you missed 3, you're out.
Three
and-
consecutive.
Correct. And we've never had that. I think we have a very.
If you're
good county.
sick or something, or if somebody's sick, or,
If you miss if you're sick for 3 months, we've got issues, so we have to talk. Not you. But it's 3 consecutive meetings if you miss it, you're off the council. And again, the reason we allow our council to participate is it's important for our community to know where council stands, even though they're not physically here.
wow.
So moving right along to P7, again, I'll reiterate, the resolution of town council amending the town employee manual to include law enforcement appreciation holiday. Town clerk?
A resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Golden Beach, Florida, amending the town's employee manual to provide for the addition of law enforcement appreciation day as a paid legal holiday, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
I need a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Second?
Second. Okay.
Mayor, so what this item does is, as you know, Miami-Dade County, and the state of Florida has legally passed another local holiday. It's not a federal holiday yet, but it's Police Appreciation Day. It falls on the first Friday after the police memorial event that's held in Dade County. All but 3 municipalities in Dade County have already adopted this. Last year, the council asked that we wait and see how the other cities were going to do it. By adding this holiday, the employees will now have 17 holidays on the books as a paid holiday in our city. And our police will have, so the general employees will have 17, and the police will have 18 holidays if they have been with the city for less than 5 years, 19 if they've been with the city for 5 years or more, and then 20 if they've been with the city for 10 years or more. In your contract, you give floating holidays to the police. So what this item does, it codifies the holiday that was approved by Miami-Dade County and the state of Florida as a recognized legal holiday.
Excuse me. Any council comments?
I just had one thought, and I support Police Appreciation Day out of everything, after everything we've talked about. But it just seems like, as I look at businesses and I look at government, I think there was a big change after COVID where a lot of people stopped working in the office so much, and I feel like so many people are coming out saying the productivity is way down, working off site versus being on site. And as we keep adding more days and talking about more different ideas, I just think the council should be looking at this as an aggregate and saying, hey, how many days, how many federal holidays, how many paid holidays, in addition to what the vacation is, do we want to do? I'm just looking at, we've just added 2 days in the past 2 years, and it just seems like we haven't fully recovered from everyone being in the town hall as much as before COVID. So
So what do you recommend?
I'm just bringing that up in terms of a discussion, that it should be something we should be looking at as we keep adding more and more time away from.
I think what you're saying is true. It's sort of I want to say a touchy subject, but we fulfill a position here as fiduciaries to the town, and we have to be fiscally responsible as to whether or not we can afford this as a town. And I guess financially the town manager and administration has put forward the fact that we can afford this, to do this. It's touchy. It's our family. You want to treat your family well. You want to do what the rest of Dade County's doing. And I think, as a whole, it's been, I think our opinion as council, I think we've been generous to our employees in the past. And I think, when we budget, we have to look at these things, even though it's not popular. It's,
both you guys bring up a great point.
We're charged with that responsibility.
Both you guys bring up a great point, and I think when we discuss salaries for next year's budget, it's something to consider, that another benefit that we offer. But one thing I have to commend the town administration and the town staff. I'm here a lot, and people are here. I mean, there's never a time where I come in and say, where's this person or where's that person? I mean, our staff works hard. They really do. And Ken, you're 100% productivity, if you pick up the journal every week, there's an article on how productivity has gone down and how, you know, after COVID, it's really changed the work mentality. But I think here in Golden Beach, I really think, and believe me, I was against it the first time it came up, but I really think the Golden Beach employees do not take advantage of Golden Beach, and they're very appreciative of what we do. And I agree with you guys, but I think, you know, 17 holidays is it's excessive from when we worked. You know, we got like whatever, it's 7 holidays, but that's the new norm.
Wait a minute,
than not the norm.
you work for yourself. Did you get any holidays?
No.
Did you go in when you were sick?
Yes.
Okay,
But-
I mean, you know,
But
it's,
just to be clear to your point, I'm advocating in support of police appreciation. I'm just saying.
No, you have to consider. I agree with you.
I'm just saying at some point, I think we really should be looking, we should put on our calendar to kind of look at everything and just say, hey.
When we
This
do
is
when we
what
do our
comfortable.
budget, I agree with you. When we do our budget and we go through the benefits of the employees, it will be considered. But you know, again, like I said, I was first against it, and the more I thought about it and the way other cities do it, I think it's a good benefit. The employees, they deserve it. You can't say they don't. They deserve it. The police deserve it, and the staff deserve it, and the administration deserves it. And but again, to your point, which I agree, I know you're not arguing, is it's something to be considered when we do our budget.
All I'm saying is, I'm not really aware of, and maybe we're not being generous enough. I'm not taking a position one way or the other. I'm just saying, as we keep doing more and more, we should just be looking at the aggregate, that's all.
Mayor, if
and just one other adage. You know, we are a cash positive community, and we all can remember New York City. In some of these cities, where the pensions and everything got to be a point where it was nice, everybody got the pension stuff, but the city went bankrupt. They couldn't pay them, you know, and that's something that we got to budget. We got to look at it. We got to make sure there's enough money to go around.
well,
Hold on, when the town manager and I do the budget, excuse me, Creed, we go 5 years out. So it's not like we do current budget and worry about current expenses. Town manager and I sit and we do a 5-year projection. So, and that includes pension, that includes COLA increases, that includes additional positions. So to your point, we're very prudent and we're very conservative. And since I've been mayor, I've always been conservative on the expenses and our cash situation.
Well, and I bring this up because last year, you were probably the biggest proponent of saying, hey, wait a second, what are we doing? Let's take a look around. And in terms of where we're at right now, you're bringing it up, so we're supportive of it because I assume based on what happened last year, more and more cities around. But I'm just saying, in all the years we've been sitting here, I don't think we've ever actually looked at how many vacation days. Like we look at the budget in terms of that, but we don't look at it in terms of with all the different days and really talk about it the way that you started to at the beginning of this conversation.
Mayor, and if you would, after Councilmember Luskin's comments, because I think this is a great opportunity, especially since Councilman Einstein opened the door, for me to talk about where we are in terms of our business aspect and how we're failing as it relates to our competitiveness. So it's Councilman Luskin.
When we discussed this last year, if you remember, the following meeting, I tried to revisit it because it disturbed me that we said no to it. And I agree with the three of you that it's something that we've got to look at. But last year when we talked about it, almost every municipality had already said yes to it. So that made me feel bad.
Yeah, we relate to
So
it.
although I agree with everything you're saying, I don't want to be that city that doesn't do it. I don't want to say especially for the police, because every employee is important.
But gee, just to be clear, I voice support of the police appreciation.
I know.
I understand.
So
But we also-
I just when we're saying,
But we also-
I don't want to do this.
All morning.
I am just letting. It was the first thing I
know.
said.
But
When Ken lets his dog out again and no one's looking for it, we know why.
But Alex, you and I also talked that it wouldn't be a major hit to us financially, and it wouldn't be a major hit to us in terms of the staffing for that day.
Yeah, so Mayor, and I know that I frustrate you when I go into my explanation of things, but I need to talk about a couple things. So I'm extremely encouraged to see that our re-elected council members want to get involved on the day-to-day operations of the city. And I think that it's important for the council to start realizing what I'm faced with every day and what the mayor's faced with every day. Let me give you a few examples of what I mean by that. So for the last 18 months, we've been trying to fill positions in our city. We have interviewed 13 candidates, of which all but 3 said, we're not interested in working for you because you're not competitive in your pay or in the way that you're running your operation.
They talk about police?
So we're gonna talk about police in a second.
Okay.
So we're seeing that we are not offering the same benefits and we're not as competitive. We grew up in a different generation. We worked 70-hour weeks. We were told by 2 candidates that we were extremely interested in, that one of them wanted to work remotely out of Hawaii and be able to get paid to be, okay. So people are looking for quality of life. They want 4-day work weeks. They want remote work. We don't allow that. We believe that government should be physical and in person. When last year, most cities in this area gave 8% COLAs or cost of merit and COLAs, we gave 5%. Our salaries are not commensurate. Our directors did not get to 6-figure salaries until last year. Most of our directors who have been working with the city for 20 years, and in some cases 16 years, did not break the 6-figure until 6 years, until last year. When we were interviewing for the human resources director position, and we advertised the position at $54,000, not a single person applied. The 2 candidates that did finally meet with us said, we would not come work for you unless we gave you a $60,000 minimum entry salary position. And in fact, with the mayor's approval, we did extend an offer of invitation to one of our new employees who will be starting on June 5th at $60,000, so base pay. Just last month, our public works employees decided that they were gonna have a unionization meeting. Public Works feels that unless they create a union, this council isn't treating them fairly because they're not able to make ends meet and pay rent. Most of our public works employees cut grass in order to meet their minimum rent issues. So the mayor has already authorized me to look at how we can become more competitive and taking care of our staff. I think that the council and our residents need to be aware of we are living in a new era where employees are driving the issue. For the last 5 months, I have advertised 2 full-time police positions to be filled, 2 new positions, because we recently went to $58,000, and that still puts us in the middle of pay when other communities are paying their police officers starting salary of $62,000 and we're at $58,000. When they interview with us and they see what we're offering them, they go to other communities. So the hiring environment and the hiring climate, and the mayor met with 2 prospects of police officers, and when we gave them the final offer letter, it said, thanks, but no thanks. So know that although I hear your concern, and I feel that some council members may feel that we're being too generous or too liberal in our ways that we're trying to attract employees, but more importantly, what I fear is retain our employees. We've got to be competitive with our neighboring cities, and if we're not, then we're failing them. And I want to prepare the council. This is extremely important. I know, Mayor, I told you I wasn't going to, but I'm going to. At your June meeting, I am bringing you another pension reform for our general employees. The mayor and I have been looking at pension and ways that we can make sure that we continue to retain our employees and take care of them. And so at your June meeting, with minimal impact to our community, we're going to be proposing another pension reform, this time for our general employees, to make sure that they continue to want to work for us because they know that in their retirement they'll be able to be secured. And Councilman Einstein, no one is more concerned about our pension program. Our pension is currently at 98% funding. Our actual numbers are coming down, and so we're being more aggressive. This council has been extremely supportive. But the mayor and I, when we meet every week, we look at these trends that are going on, and we freak out because we grew up in a different generation. Listen, one of the things that's driving me nuts, excuse the language, I keep on walking by these new hires and these new employees, and they all have an ear thing in their ear, listening to music or doing whatever, and they're working. They're extremely productive. And no, I'm not talking about the people who are listening to minutes. I know we have people that do minutes, but it's a different generation. And talk to your colleagues in other cities to see what they're doing to attract people. By the way,
talk to your kids and see how they work. Yeah.
But well, yours are pretty hard workers, Mayor.
Right, but still.
I'm gonna talk to Alex and Rachel. Hold on, one last thing. So let me just give you an example. So recently we were looking at, talking about changes and stuff. When you have people coming to you and saying, I won't work for you for less than $180,000 as a director in a position that we really do need, it's laughable because our police chief just got this year to $140,000. Our town clerk just got to $102,000 this year, and our finance director, after serving with the city for over 17 years just got to 105, and our assistant town manager just got to 120. So know that we are looking at what's going on in terms of our hiring ability, and Councilman Einstein, I can assure you that I will share all this with you because it's important for us not to remember Golden Beach, we're no longer in a fishbowl, we're now combating, and Vice Mayor Bernstein, you're right. I don't know what happened with people after COVID, but the world changed, and the expectations on us has become more and more difficult, and so know that we are aware of these issues. And these type of benefits is just what attracts people that wanna come work for
And-
communities like ours.
In the employment, we have less employment today than ever before, correct? Our employment
Well,
rates?
let me tell you what's happening. Look, I see
Unemployment,
it.
yeah.
Unemployment.
Because here's what people are doing. Would I rather go work for Uber and make $120 at a 5-hour shift, right? And be my own boss. And so you're seeing people doing these creative Etsy. So you're seeing, because I'm asking, at the manager's meeting, we're seeing who are we competing with? Like, why are we not getting workers? And so when I can sell something on Etsy and make $120 for the day, and remember, these are different these are blue collar laborers. So there is a different mentality. They want to make $120, be able to cover the rent, and be able to go to the Keys, for 4-day weekends. So we're competing with that. COVID changed the climate of hiring.
But I just want to reiterate, because in some context of how people have spoken about what I just said, first of all, to be clear, I've said let's support Police Appreciation Day.
Absolutely.
The second thing I was just saying is that to do an overall look, I don't know, and I said I'm not sure if we're not paying enough, if we're paying too much, if we're giving too many days or not enough. I'm just saying we should do an analysis kind of to look at this and just see where we're at compared to everyone. Just like we did with Police Appreciation Day, because even though we'll look on the budgets and we'll say this person's making this or that, I don't know if that's commensurate with what everyone else is getting paid. I'm just saying it's an analysis.
I think with the town manager and I kind of, I voiced it, but it's something that they are doing, and I think that's,
Right.
that we need.
We know what every position
And I guess-
is paid in every city.
Yeah, I guess
We have, believe me, I ask Alex every time we're doing budget, what does this person make in
Yeah,
this
I'm just
city?
saying it's never been something that we've done at a council level.
Right.
And that's why I started off by thanking you, because I know that you.
And I'm glad you brought it to our attention.
All the council is getting more in the day-to-day, and you should be, because let me tell you, even for me, and I'm an old dog in this game, right? I've been at this for 17 years in the city. Like, it's just baffling. I mean, before you would offer somebody a $50,000 salary and they would jump for it. And when we have two people say we're not interested because you're not at 60, and by the way, and I don't want to be disrespectful to who we're hiring, but it's like, really, like, and so know that and we're not the only ones. I had this conversation with the manager at Bell Harbor. I had this conversation with Ron over at Aventura. Not Sunny Isles as much because there's a lot of transition going on there, but we're seeing this. This is the environment that we're in.
Okay. Any other public comments?
No.
No. Roll call, please.
Mayor Singer,
Wait, someone say something? Nope. Go on. Roll
Mayor-
call.
Mayor Singer,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Bernstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Einstein,
Yes.
Councilmember Luskin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Okay, I have nothing else on the agenda except for next council meeting.
It's gonna be June 6th at 6 o'clock. Know that the item so far that we're looking at is the change order for phase 1 of the tennis court, an ordinance for first reading as it relates to employee benefits, and purchase of. It's gonna be a light agenda. It'll be quick. It was on June 6th.
Just real quick, the new security cameras and stuff like that, we had already voted on that.
Yeah,
So
yes.
all we were seeing was the
The final
final.
agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, you
There's-
already approved all
There
the
was
terms.
nothing okay.
No. And Mayor, just wanna remind the council that Memorial Day weekend, there's the flag burning ceremony, assistant town manager, Linda Everson will be representing me at that event, since I will be out of town, in Puerto Vallarta.